Welcome back to another video, and today I'll be discussing the newest makeup announcements and releases. Welcome back, and today I'll be going through the newest makeup announcements that have been made during the last couple of weeks or so. So we didn't get a makeup news video last week because honestly there just wasn't that many things to talk about, so that is why I prioritized the sort of November, December haul video, which was the last makeup haul video from last year. That is why I thought that I do that instead, because as I said, there wasn't that much to talk about. For this week, I don't think we still have that much to talk about, but I do think we have enough for a makeup news video, so we will be going through some of the newest announcements that have been made in the makeup releases. Okay, and let's start. So first, something with Dior. So Dior seems to be coming out with a lot, because I think a couple of weeks ago we did discuss their spring collection, and surprisingly, I think the spring collection you can order it now, at least in the US. I don't think you're able to order it yet on the European website, but at least I saw a couple of US influencers posting that if you live in States, you can actually order like Dior spring collection, which is very early. But aside from the spring collection, they are coming out with some staple line things. So they are now doing bronzer sticks. I think this is a very logical extension, because I think the contouring sticks they brought out, I think it was last year or on 2024, I think those were pretty popular. So I think it makes sense to bring out bronzer sticks. And then they brought out a very wide range of lip oils. I think by the time we have now seen quite a few lip oil releases, and because these are Dior, these are probably pretty pricey, so I would probably be looking into some more inexpensive options if you're looking to buy lip oils. But if you are a huge Dior fan, I think these are something that should also be available, I think also on the European website to buy so far. But for me, both of these releases are an easy skip. Then something from Bobbi Brown. So Bobbi Brown is bringing out a skin enhancer, blush, bronzer and highlighter multi-stick. So I think depending on the shade you can use it to different purposes. Again, I think Bobbi Brown is one of those like high-end brands. You can actually get Bobbi Brown in like our makeup retailers, but it's just that none of their things usually interest me, because it usually just seems that they are just bringing out their variation of whatever is currently popular on the makeup market, and I haven't seen very much like unique product concept from them at all. So again, this goes together with products that I'm not interested in, but if this is something that interests you, I think these are available. Then something very expensive. So HERMÈS is bringing out a foundation. So I think this is quite logical, since I think HERMÈS is makeup brand. There was this like horse imprinted blush lighter, which I was like rolling over before Christmas. So I think HERMÈS is known for doing like quite a lot of cheek products, and I think they have some kind of eyeshadow products in their range, but the foundation I think is a new product from them. So this is apparently a luminous matte, they are promising this to be a luminous matte skincare foundation and primer, so it's apparently one doing everything. So I assume it is because it's a luminous matte finish. It's probably is gonna offer you coverage, but it's gonna be more of a glowy, like it's not gonna be full on matte. This is probably gonna be very expensive because it's HERMÈS, so for me this is a skip, purely because HERMÈS, first of all, it's a pretty difficult brand. I can get it on some online retailers, but also for the fact that pricing of this foundation is probably gonna be pretty expensive, so we are also saying no to this one. Then I think a palette that might be the first indie palette, or well, not maybe first indie purchase of the year, because I actually did end up making a P. Louise order from P. Louise. Is like they were doing their Christmas sale, so because P. Louise is technically an indie brand, but this is probably gonna be the first like monolith order that I'm gonna make. So Unearthly Cosmetics, they actually did announce the color story of this one already during last year, but now they have it on, I think you can pre-order this already on their website. So this is called Made a Monster, and probably by looking at the color story you can see why I'm so interested in this one. So this is basically in a pink palette. I have been like trying to maybe like talk myself out of this one, saying that yeah, it's a pink palette, but you have already like pink palettes, and actually when you look at this, there's like only one deeper matte shade. It's the plummy one in the lower bottom, and then pretty much rest of the shades there are like a few deeper shimmers in this one. So in terms of like matte shades, this probably isn't gonna fulfill all my dreams, because I would have maybe liked another deepening up shade. Otherwise the mattes are pretty light or mid-tone, but like it's an all pink palette with some like pops of, I think there's like a bit of purple in here, and there's even like a gray leading shimmer shade, but there's probably going to be also special, like most of the shades are going to be special shades because it's Unearthly. So Unearthly is one of those indie brands that I haven't bought quite a lot of them. I do own 2 palettes from them, and I have been pretty happy with the palettes they have released in recent years, but it's usually one of those indie brands that maybe goes under my radar because there are like other indie brands that I just like more. But this one, when it comes to Monolith Shop, and if it isn't like horrendously priced, like I'm meaning in indie terms, like if this is like 100 euros, then I'm probably gonna skip it. But if it goes around 70 euros that most Unearthly palettes go to, this could be something that I would be very interested in. I mean, I think the color story and the whole palette design is like made for me. Then Milani. So Milani is apparently redoing their whole like luminous cheek line. So this Milani's powder cheek, baked powder cheek line is, I think, one of their like bestseller products, and within this range they have had blushes, highlighters and bronzers, and now they have redone the whole line. I think you can already get this on the US, but it probably is gonna take some time for this to come to the European market. So they are obviously going to be redoing their blushes. I am a bit unsure, do we have like completely new blush shades altogether, or are these just existing shades reformulated? Then there's going to be highlighters. I think there's like altogether going to be 4 highlighter shades if I'm looking at the, yeah, only 4 ones. The pink one is looking interesting, which is nothing new in this channel, that the pink highlighter is something that's appealing to me. And then we are having the luminous bronzers. I think the bronzers are they are definitely on the luminous side, but they aren't as shiny looking as maybe the blushes and the highlighter are. But I'm not a fan of luminous bronzers, so I think if there would be anything that I would be interested in this one, it would probably be the baked blushes and the highlighters. The bronzers not so much, but as I said, you can get these now I think on quite a lot of Milani retailers in US, but if you live in Europe like I do, then you probably have to wait because the Milani stuff can be a bit slow to come here. So Colourpop has started the year by launching some new lip products. So this is the Cloud Whip. I think this is technically a liquid lipstick. So these are, I think if you have tried any K-beauty or Asian beauty brand lip products in recent years, these are the sort of like moussey like lip products that I think are meant to be a bit more comfortable than traditional liquid lipsticks, and I think these are the kind of products that they do. There's a little bit of wear, so I don't think this is probably the kind that's gonna like dry down completely, but it's gonna be like a bit of the layer is gonna come off if you eat or drink, but it is also something that makes this bit more comfortable to wear. I don't need this one, and also I have discussed this quite extensively, that Colourpop's shipping to Europe, it takes quite a while, and also there are some additional shipping fees because it comes from the US. But if you are a Colourpop fan and you are looking for some new matte lip products, then this could be something to look into. Okay, and then from Wicked Widow Beauty, so they are coming out with a Rocky Horror Show collection, and this is a full-on collection. So there's eyeshadow palettes, I think there are some cheek duos, and then there are some lip products included in this one. I do believe Monolith Shop did say that this is probably going to be included in their January launch. I think they have said that the January launch is going to happen somewhere at the end of January, which I think is quite understandable because I think the beginning of January a lot of people in Europe are still on holiday. I think the standout item in this one is the like eyeshadow palette, and I did take a couple of looks at this one because I do think the colors, for being a colorful color story, this was quite of an I'd say well curated palette. I think it's a pretty good balance where you have some lighter shades and then you have some deeper shades, so I think you could get a pretty good like versatility with this one. Wicked Widow Beauty is a brand that, even though it's sold on Monolith Shop, it's not an indie brand that I have been particularly interested in the past, and while I do actually think that the color story with the eyeshadow palette is interesting, this is still not something that is gonna make me buy from the brand. So this is a skip for me, but I do think that if you live in Europe, I think at least the eyeshadow palette should be coming to the Monolith Shop launch during the January. And then I think that, yeah, we're having some Makeup Revolution alarmers here, and then we should be done. So these were some new Makeup Revolution releases that were on Ulta's website. So this sometimes happens because it's a bit strange that A lot of the Makeup Revolution stuff first launches here in Europe and UK because UK is Makeup Revolution is a UK based drugstore brand, and then it's quite accessible also here in other European countries. And then the stuff can come out later to the US, but then sometimes this happens because it seems that Ulta, with US Ulta, there's like on Sundays they launch most of the new products on their website, and then sometimes it happens that because then there is like some older stuff that has been already available in Europe, but then they also sneak in some newer stuff that hasn't been yet announced by Makeup Revolution. So it's a bit like we sometimes get some like new Makeup Revolution launches with the Ulta Sunday update, even though the brand hasn't yet launched them. So the two new products that were in the Ulta's website was the Blusher Reloaded. So I think they are redoing their powder blushes, and these seem to be matte blushes. I think the blushes they had previously, were they maybe more satin-like blushes, or were they? I think I might be confusing them with the highlighters, but this is definitely new in terms of the packaging and also like how the pan is looking. So this is Natural Flush with Revolution Blusher Reloaded, a silky soft talc-free powder for blush. So it's $8 US each, so I think in euros it's gonna be probably around 9 euros if the pricing goes how it usually does. So far I think there's like only 4 shades. I'm a bit unsure, is this like the final shade range, or are we gonna see more when these launch on Revolution's own website? This could be one of those products that I might throw in to a order or wait for the products to come into our like Revolution retailers. It can take a bit of time for things to come to our brick and mortar retailers, but usually sooner or later stuff will come, so I don't think this is a particular product that I would order separately, but I might be interested to try if it becomes a bit more easily available. Then the second Revolution release is this one. So this is the Powder Pops Instant Blur Setting Powder. Again, I think it's been quite some time since they redid their pressed powder last time, so it is quite understandable that they are now updating this one. The packaging looks kind of nice. Again, I'm not in a super hurry to get a new pressed powder. I'm just trying out a new W7 powder, but this could be again a product that when this comes a bit more easily accessible for me, I could maybe throw this into my cart, but again, not a product that I would order separately. And the last product for today, so Laura Mercier is coming out with a tinted blur balm skin tint with peptides. So this is coming out with in a powder compact. I was initially thinking that is this a new pressed powder, but this is indeed a skin tint. What is this claiming to be? A transformative balm to powder skin tint infused with peptides that delivers a natural matte soft focus finish with weightless long wear coverage. So it's quite interesting because this is like kind of implicating based on the name that it's a more like tinted blur balm. So it's more of a like skin tint type of product, but they are claiming that you can get full coverage with this one. So actually I think if you are looking for something lighter coverage, this might not actually be it, because based on the description this seems to be quite of a full coverage product. It's gonna be $44 US each, so it is on the pricier side, but I think the pricing is quite in line with the rest of Laura Mercier's sort of complexion products. But for me, I don't think this sort of skin tint balm is something that I'm looking for, especially if this is a more matte finish. I think I'm a person who these days needs much more of a, what I would say, something that gives a bit more hydration, so for me this is an easy skip. Those were all the releases I had to discuss for today. As I said, not that much to talk about, which definitely shows that we are in the beginning of January. The standard release, definitely the Unearthly palette. I think that is just like a color story that is screaming me, because it is this sort of pink palette that then has also some luckily other colors, so it's not a completely monochromatic palette, but a color story that pulls my heartstrings. Comment down below what were your sort of like top picks from new releases, and also if there was a release that you're interested in but I didn't discuss, then drop it in the comments. If you like this video, push the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell button if you want to get notifications from our future content. You can also find me with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog, on Instagram. I'll be back again soon in the video. Bye bye!